Hey Garage Door fans, I'm Chris Wilke with C&W Canada Garage Doors, and welcome back to the garage. I'm here today with Nik Jankovic of Remax Elite and the Müve team. Hey Nick, how you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
All right. So I know you've had a busy summer helping people sell homes.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that makes people want to buy a home is curb appeal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about today. But before we get into all that, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Müve team?
Okay, so we're a full licensed team. We've been around for a few years now. Technically right now we have 6 agents, a couple assistants, a marketing manager, full-time videographer. Yeah,
a giant army, right?
Yeah, we've been around for a while now, and we're a younger age team. We're very aggressive with our marketing, and we like to get deals done. That's for sure. So
awesome, great. Yeah. Well, great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right, so let me get down to business. So let's dive into curb appeal a little bit. So Nick, from a realtor standpoint, how important is curb appeal?
Curb appeal is huge, man. I mean, right now it's no secret. It's a buyer's market. What that means is there's a lot more inventory than there is actual buyers, right? So what I'm finding when I work with buyers is the littlest things will turn a buyer off. You only have one first impression. You want to make sure that, when a client or when a potential buyer shows up to your home and is interested in possibly purchasing it, that you're showing it at its best, right? Mm-hmm. So you can only make one first impression, so you want that curb appeal to be, up to everyone's standards. I've seen, literally this happened last week. It sounds like I'm making this up because I'm on this show, but I had a client that was debating between 2 properties, and it was actually the garage door, believe it or not, that one of them was in shambles, and they actually lean towards the other one just because of that. They're like, we don't want to deal with this headache, and even though I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it actually is a huge deal. So people are finding that curb appeal is a really important aspect of selling a home.
That's so funny that's happened, because it's happened to me a lot. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on this show, is because a lot of people don't understand that a lot of times the garage door is the biggest impression you have on your home, especially with a front attached garage. It can be 30 to up to 80% of your curb appeal. So when you have one that needs a little work, or maybe the original with the home, and it looks a little ratty or a little bit in shambles, it ends up turning people off. And then when they walk into that house and they have that already first impression,
it basically sets the tone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the impression, your first impression is just not strong, right?
Yeah. So that's so. What do you recommend your clients do to boost their curb appeal?
Well, let's start off with doing the simple things, right? Hosing down your siding, making sure it's nice and clean, making sure all the lighting is working. When you're walking into a home, if only a few bulbs are working and the rest aren't, it just sets a tone. Make sure the lawn is cut, your hedges are trimmed, all the flowers are laid out properly. And then if you're looking to spend a bit of money, which in my opinion is there's a lot of value, the return in value is huge. Things like replacing maybe the roof, obviously looking at the garage door, if your windows need replacing, things like that, right? So people initially don't like to spend that little bit of extra money, but in a market like today, it goes a really long way, right?
So a lot of people are always afraid, like, well, I'm selling this house, I don't want to put any more money into
exactly.
it. Like, there's the thing called ROI, or return on investment, which is what you were kind of talking about. And the garage door actually can be one of the most ROI you can get out of investing into your home, something like 98% sometimes. So people think of it as, I'm putting money into something I'm just going to sell anyway. When in reality, you're boosting. You're boosting your curb appeal and making sure you sell quickly and for the full value of your home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to go into negotiations and be like, well, maybe I'll take a little bit of a hit here, when you could just simply fix it yourself and get the full value.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Right, so that's really good. Keeping a home looking modern is also really a challenge, especially. So do you know any tips and tricks that for someone who has an older home, or maybe something where it looks a little dated, that they can kind of help boost their curb appeal?
I mean, there's things like changing the paint around, right? You walk up to a house and if it's a pinkish color, which might have been big in the 1998s or the 2000s, you might want to look into changing that color. You got the old brown wooden garage doors. That's a big turn off to a lot of potential buyers. Lighting is huge, like I mentioned earlier. You got the old yellow lights. I mean, maybe investing in some LEDs can really boost your curb appeal and modernize
We had Kevin from Halo Power on the show.
Yeah, Kev would probably love that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have to say, things like updating the garage door. So I once had a client who had their home on the market for a couple months, could not sell it to save their life. They just updated their bathroom. Inside the house was gorgeous, but
they neglected the door.
They neglected the door.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, it's exactly
something so minor like that.
They spent a very little amount of money, like under $2,000, to just facelift their garage door a little bit. We had it color match the stonework on the outside, and I believe that house sold within a couple weeks. It's crazy. It's just a way of just changing that mindset from when you're first approaching the house.
So if you think about them replacing that right off the bat, they probably would have sold it around that time, and basically the garage door would have paid for itself, right? If you're holding on to a home and you're paying those mortgage payments every year, and it's sitting there, vacant for 2-3 months, you're paying $2,000 a month in mortgage payments. Why not spend that money right off the bat, get your home situated the right way, and then sell it as soon as you can.
That's actually a really good point, and to think about that, because as long as you have it sitting there, you were paying for it.
Exactly. Absolutely. So something like that would have paid for itself anyways, right?
Wow. So that's really great. So Nick, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
What else can people do to help sell their home in this fall market?
Hiring the right team is a huge thing to not overlook, obviously, when selling your home, right? So, you want to have the right real estate agent, the right team working for you, marketing your property correctly, putting as many people through the doors, right? That's a big factor in selling a home these days. But for the client themselves, what they can do, one thing that I always tell them is make it look like a show home, right? If you can declutter, make sure you declutter. Pull things off the walls that might distract buyers. Make sure the curb appeal is up to standards. But most importantly, make sure they get their garage doors fixed, man. Because I've seen it happen.
I swear I'm not paying.
Yeah, I've seen it time and time again that little things like that make a big deal, and it's not a big investment, and the return on your value is huge, right?
So I have to go. You said hiring the right team is a huge thing, and
Absolutely.
I have to say when hiring a professional makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't have someone operate on you after they've watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to take out a gallbladder, right? So when you have someone who like you and your team who see hundreds of homes every year,
and genuinely care for your clients and are really focusing on selling their home, right? Making them happy.
I've seen your marketing, and it's
go.
very aggressive, very beautifully done.
I appreciate
Please follow these guys on Facebook, because those videos are not only well done, but they're also a plethora of educational knowledge within them. Well, Nick, thank you very much for being on the show. Before we go, where can people find you?
Obviously, you guys can check us out on moveteam.com. We're all over Instagram. With the Move Team, Facebook, we're also called the Move Team, obviously. And then you can reach me at my phone number, which is right here, 707-9484, and get in contact with us. We'd love to hear from you guys, for sure.
Thank you very much, Nick. Well, garage door fans, you know where to find me. www.cwgarage.ca. Phone number here, 780-266-1248. Instagram and Facebook. at CW Garage Doors. Thank you very much. Have a good day.